Yeah, let's go. Sorry, I was putting on mute, so I didn't. There's noise going around.
You want me to play any music or anything like that? What do you want me to do? That's good funk music.
I like that one.
Right?
Hey, welcome everybody. This is Justin Lethby. This is Talking Tech with Realtors, and today what we're really doing is we're going to really kind of talk about tech trends for 2016, things that we think that you kind of need to watch out for inside of tech, and really how to kind of manage that's going to happen out there. We got some key things, probably 5-6 categories we'll kind of talk about today. If you guys have some of your other ideas, let me know. Do you see things like that? And I like the question here. If you guys have questions, please ask them. We'll definitely try to answer them throughout the session and kind of have it that way. So my name is Justin. I am the E-Professor of Real Estate. That's my website. Go to it. I do a lot of speaking, training, and a lot of things along those lines for that. Jason, take a second to introduce yourself.
Hey, everyone. I'm Jason Bates, right here in Phoenix, Arizona. I am the host of a podcast called Valley of the Sun Real Estate Show, and you can check that out by visiting my website at www.valleyofthesunrealestateshow.com. Connect with me anywhere from there. I'd love to connect with you.
Perfect. So actually, one of the things I'm going to do right off the bat, since he asked this question, I just kind of want to answer right off the bat because I think Michael's got a great question, is that do you see 360-degree drone photography becoming more of a mainstream over the next year? I think drone photography definitely has some play in there. The 360-degree is definitely going to be an interesting play if you especially get more cameras. The only thing that I worry about with drones in general, unless it's totally indoors, is FFA is putting so many regulations on drones that is going to be hard from a commercial level to actually do it. Now, you will see realtors all day long have drone photography right now and put it out there. To be completely honest with you, if they're not licensed, they're not breaking laws because FFA don't create laws, but those laws are getting put in place. I think there was one that just got launched at the end of December. So it's a dangerous world to play in. If it's indoor, completely legal. Outdoor, it makes me nervous right now.
Now 360-degree photography, I mean, help me understand that. So they take a picture with a drone and then stitch the photos together so that you have kind of a virtual kind of...
Yeah, it's going to be kind of like what we were talking about with Matterport earlier. When you look around, you're going to be able to visually go around, hopefully put like goggles on and look around. The way I've looked at the 360 degrees, mostly outdoor, you're going to look at the whole panorama of what's going on around you. So you actually get a real good feel what's going on in that neighborhood, not just that house, which I think is an amazing concept. But it becomes a very, again, with FFA and not knowing what the government wants to do with that stuff, becomes a very interesting challenge. And it's not cheap either. I mean, those things are really quite expensive. So they are a risk. I think they have a play in the market, and I think they will eventually do something. I just don't think you'll see it in 2016.
What now is along those lines? I mean, we talked last week about GoPro and having, they came out, I think, what was it on the Las Vegas thing when they had that technology deal or whatever, where they have that ball where you can put like 6 different GoPros in there, and then they send you the software that stitches the pictures together. Is that kind of something that, do you need special software to see that? I mean, if you put that on your laptop, you look at a picture like that, are you able to scroll through that kind of like you do with Google Maps or whatever it is?
Yeah, right now you should be able to, right? There are a lot of restaurants, depending on how big the cities are. You got a lot of restaurants that when you can go look at the pictures and you can go inside and look at all like the surrounding areas and do that. And it's just a website. I don't need any special application, anything like that. Now, the website needs special stuff, but that's not our concern at a consumer level. That's more the concern at the web hosting level.
Right. Gotcha. Drones are kind of one of those things for me. I'm not sold on drones yet. I mean, you kind of see one, you've seen them all kind of thing. With the angles. I mean, it's kind of cool. Don't get me wrong. But it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know if it's really, like if I see a drone and somebody's like kayaking down, rapids or something like that, that's cool. Right. But for a house, you kind of seen first one, you've seen them all, unless it's some kind of spectacular, mansion or something like that. But most people aren't in that market anyway.
And that's just what Michael was going to say. And the same thing I was going to say. I think drones are a total niche conversation. Like you have an elite subdivision and you're trying to point that out all day long. I think a drone's going to make that day, but you only need one picture at that point in time, and you don't need to have 5 of them. Right. You're a guy that sells horse property. You're selling land that has beautiful landscapes, or you're trying to get the whole concept of what's going on. That's where drones are going to come to play in a huge way. When you're dealing with subdivisions that are on postage stamps, lots, what are you seeing? You're seeing the roof. Okay, great. I can see that there's no holes in the roof. That's awesome, value, but not anything that really is going to do that. And again, they are starting to come down in price and they become a little more reasonable. It's going to be very interesting. Some of the drones are cheap. Again, you got to worry about commercial rules, but at $1,000 to grab a high quality video, that becomes an expensive buy. I mean, when they first came out, realtors were trying to buy them for $2,500. I was recommending against it because most of them were selling homes like I sell for less than a quarter acre lot. It becomes challenging and not something realistic. I think for niche markets, you're going to see it launch on the park. I think for commercial businesses, they're going to knock it out of the park with that stuff. I think there's things that you can do with that that are going to be crazy. From a residential perspective, it's going to be a hit or miss business.
Yeah, and here's my thought on it too. You're trying to sell property, right? If you give too much away and you give all the sexiness away of the property, you may not get the call, right? If I can see everything I want on the TV, what do I need to call a realtor? I want to give as much as necessary, but as little as possible kind of concept. So I would think, hey, take some good pictures of the sunset, the most attractive parts of the house, and leave the rest as a mystery. Sometimes the imagination can fuel the phone call more than trying to capture a scene, if you will, or whatever. So
I don't disagree. Sometimes less is more, right? You always hear that being said, and there's definitely a lot of truth to that. That becomes a marketing concern though, right? Sometimes you got to kind of figure out what you're selling and what you need to, for lack of better terms, how are you going to make that marketing sexy, right? How are you going to make it enticing enough that you're going to be able to do that? And I think it's a good question. Do drones take away from that? I don't know if there's a solid answer for that yet or not. And really, I think the answer becomes to that is right now, the way drones are done, I think the answer is, yeah, they might give away too much. But with technology, what you don't know or you might not be aware of yet is maybe somebody's got a real creative way of doing it, right? Maybe they take real wicked pictures, around the house at, eye level or something. And it's more of a fluid motion than watching people bounce up and down. Maybe they can do things like that. Maybe drones get really small and you can literally take a flyby picture of the homes inside, right? That's interesting. And they are getting really small drones. They don't have cameras on them, but there are there are drones that are no bigger than my thumb.
Well, I saw one that you snap your phone into, and then how you tilt your phone to and it'll adjust the picture if you're horizontal or landscape or portrait or whatever. Well, that geo, whatever they call that in the phone, then is the stabilizer for the drone. So you just plug your phone in and you fly your little drone. So you're right. They're getting very, very small. And Mike had mentioned there too about, a lot of investors not wanting putting a foot into a home. This is another thing that I saw that I thought was really kind of cool. They actually have, I know this is like, this is probably way off in the future, maybe not, I don't know, but I've seen where they have either remote cameras or even a remote robot, believe it or not, that in some of the high end, some of the New York properties, they'll put a robot in there with a camera, and then the person who's doing or looking at the home can control the robot and go from room to room and look at the house that way through the eyes of a robot. So I don't know if that's necessarily going to be a trend for 2016, but maybe that's an indicator of where the technology might be heading. Hey, you're muted. Hello, you're muted.
If it's 2016 or 2017, that's okay. I mean, what I said 2016 is I just things to watch out for. But I mean, some of this stuff will definitely roll over. I mean, CES just finished a week and a half ago. So one of the things that's going to happen is some of the stuff you will see launch this year, but most of CES doesn't happen for 3-4 years. You don't see that technology out there yet. Right. But I think some of the things that you are seeing are going to affect real estate business, right? I think drones are going to affect. I think right now it's a little too early to say it's going to affect this year, just for the fact that technology isn't there, viewership's there, and really the honest answer is knowledge isn't there. People know about drones, but they see it in water sports or they see it as a flyby for something here. They don't think, okay, real estate, right? They don't see that. I think they will. I think you'll start seeing it probably towards the end. You might see a little flux in the summer where people are testing out with better weather. I mean, again, I'm in Illinois right now and it's cold. No one's going to sit outside and drive a drone. But now drones are multiple categories, right? We all think of drones as what? Is these just little hovering flybys?
Yeah. Right.
There's actually drone like cars, like, you know, 2-wheel cars that are out there that people can, you know, go through and play in the house and has a camera and can run through. So I think there's going to be some interesting plays that way that can make it very interesting for us. I don't think we'll see much this year. You might see a little bit next year. And I think specifically the reason that it will pick up a little bit is what Michael's hinting at. I think you're going to start seeing more and more people that don't necessarily want to buy without stepping in, but they don't want to step in before they're absolutely sure they want to see that house. Right? They want to make sure that, okay, this is what I want. I like this. I like the layout. I like kind of the room sizes. I get a good feel when I'm looking at it right now, how this goes. Right now, you see clients are looking at 30, 40 homes because they go through and they look online at Zillow and they're going, well, I can't tell. It looks okay. Let's go take a look. I think you're going to start seeing more, especially with the millennials. They're not going to want to spend and waste that time looking around. They're going to say, okay, these are the 5 homes that I have decided on.
Right.
Let's pick them out. And drones will help that. They'll give them an area view of what's going around in the area. But again, that's a one-time thing. You shouldn't need that more. And that's where I think photographers will have a better advantage with drones than anybody else.
What about the idea of putting, you can't do this in a home that's occupied, obviously, but a home that is not occupied, people moved out, it's empty, putting cameras in there that people can control. You know, you put it up in the upper corner or whatever, and then you direct people to a website that you control, and you can capture them, you know, capture their email or whatever. So they got to log in, and then they can actually do a virtual kind of tour through the cameras.
Right. And I think that's something coming. Technology becomes an issue with that, right? And they're becoming easier, and it becomes. But with cameras, you got 2 big concerns from a real estate perspective. One is the legality, right? When we go into a home, we're not allowed to have our clients take pictures of homes. Now, I know there's people out there that have happened, but you're not allowed to do that without getting permission from the sellers that that's okay. Right. So you need to have written permission on that.
A vacant home. Obviously, you're not going to want to have people.
Well, but I think this is for everything, right? I mean, yeah, vacant homes are going to be by far the easiest way to do this. And if you get a vacant home, you still got to get permission to have that. But it's going to be, anybody says vacant, they're going to say, who cares? The only reason they might be concerned about it is letting people know when there's no one there, you know, X, Y, or Z.
Right.
But, you know, I think it's going to become a play. I do like that idea. And, you know, it was one of the things that Catherine said, you know, having some live cameras, going back to what you're saying, would be helpful to know what it looks like at various times of the day. You know, what does this home look like during the day? What does it look like at dusk? What does it look like bright and early morning? You know, in my bedroom, am I going to be blinded by sunlight every time I wake up? Especially if I'm a guy that wants to sleep in until noon, right?
Or even sound, right? If you can capture sound, you know, you live near a busy street and maybe there's, you know, heavy traffic during rush hour or whatever like that, and you want to, you know, kind of listen to what's happening around you, I guess, or around that property, that might be a good way to handle that too.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree with that. I think I just think you'd be able to capture more by having more, not so much drone things, but I think drone is a nice transition to what we're kind of talking about. Some more live or some more real type experiences that you can grab from it. Right. And you see that, right? And Catherine's just saying, you nailed it, right? I think that's exactly right. I think what you're trying to do is what we do as realtors a lot is we're just trying to sell the home. And I think sometimes we fail really big in not selling the experience.
Or the lifestyle, right? It's lifestyle. It's you're selling a dream and a lifestyle. So you're trying to capture that lifestyle. And some of that.
Well, I laugh all the time, and people can say, you guys, when you go into Zillow, you go into Truly, you go into any of these web portals, and you read the specs of the home, and then you read the comments, right? The comments say this is a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Like, I already know a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Tell me what I need to know. Tell me the experience that I'm going to have here.
Right.
Yeah. So I just laugh because it's like, I tell these guys all the time, stop worrying about the details here. You're wasting character space. Write the experience. Give them a lifestyle. Give them what you are doing with this stuff. And I would much rather, to be honest with you, because I'm a horrible writer. I do this for a very specific reason. I don't want to write. I would rather do this instead of having 1,000 characters. I'd rather do this and have a 60-second video where I could sell that experience.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing that a lot more, even with videos, right? I see, you know, realtors, they do these little slideshows, these little virtual kind of, you know, pictures, if you will, where they zoom in and out of pictures. Okay, that's cool. That's whatever. But then I'm starting to see realtors who are really starting to take it seriously, actually hiring actors to portray that lifestyle. How convenient it is to walk down and get a Starbucks coffee. How convenient it is to, know your neighbors or the neighborhood or some of the, things that are around the house itself. How close it is or convenient to, working and all that, where you work and all that kind of stuff. Having that captured in a video, I think, is a lot more powerful than anything else that you can capture within the house. Yes, the details of the house need to be there, right? You need to have updated kitchen or, cabinets, and it needs to be, comfortable. But you need to get outside the house too to sell the house and sell that lifestyle. So video does a great way of doing that. And you can actually check out a lot of those videos by going to, I think it's Google Plus and the best of real estate videos. It's a community within Google Plus. I mentioned it last time. And there's a lot of cool videos from realtors that are really taking the video to the next level. And I think that can be a trend for all realtors and a lesson that we can all learn as to how to make better videos, not just show the picture of the house. I said this last time too, Justin, too many realtors take pictures of toilets. You don't have indoor plumbing, people. I get it. I don't need a picture of the toilet. So sell the lifestyle, not the bathroom. Unless, I guess, maybe if it's like a super nice bathroom, maybe a nice picture might do it some justice. But I think we're beyond that right now.
Yes, and then make it the cover image. No, I agree. I laugh because I will take pictures. Now, I'll take a picture of everything. When I go into the home, I take a picture of everything. I don't care how inane and how stupid it is, but I'll take a picture of everything. But I typically don't on the Zillows and that stuff. I don't typically add the bathrooms pictures in there unless like the shower stall is just, a steam shower and it's just out of this world type of situation. Because again, yes, you have indoor plumbing. All right. Your sink is a cheap little whatever it is, and your tile is linoleum. Okay, great. So is 75% of the homes. You're not distinguishing anything. You're not selling anything at that point in time. If my client says I really want it in there, okay, fine. No problem. Right. I'll put it in there. But I don't initially have that in there because I think, to be completely honest with you, it is it's a waste of pictures because you only get so many, and it doesn't tell the experience or the lifestyle we're looking for. Right. And that kind of goes to what I think I kind of want to lead off with on the very first topic here is, and it goes with Zillows and goes with the live video. And I think a lot of this stuff is going to be kind of video based anyways, is I really like the fact that I think what Matterport's doing and what you have even Google doing with some of those 360 virtual, and I mean really virtual tours, not quote virtual tours with random pictures. I'm talking you get to put a Google cardboard headdress around your head and you get to move your head 360 degrees and get a look and feel what that house looks like while you're standing there, quote unquote. Yeah. Yeah, please. And that's a great point, Jason. If anybody's here wants to stand in, we're going to try to keep one open because I might actually get a special guest. I've been working on one guy a little silently. Cool. But yeah, if anybody wants to come in, please do, because add. But I think
free showings, right? I mean, that's, and I wanted to talk, we talked a little bit about this off air before we came on air or whatever, but I want to get this, kind of out there here in Phoenix. There's a company called Open Door, and you can go to their website. I can probably put it out here. Opendoor.com is the website. And it's a gentleman. The gentleman who started this company grew up here in Phoenix, grew up in Glendale, Arizona, not too far from the stadium, actually. He's now in San Francisco, California. And he is trying to take the whole experience and make it a pleasurable one, right? So too many times we have too many disgruntled either sellers, buyers. We want to blame the title company, we want to blame the mortgage guy, we want to blame whoever, right, on the transaction. They're trying to simplify the whole process. And I think as this kind of develops more with the changes in mortgages and how difficult it is to get a loan, everybody's looking for simpler ways to do things, right? And real estate's no exception. So Open Door, what they do is they will buy your house at fair market value. They're not there to undercut you. They're not there to do anything. And this is no advertisement for Open Door, mind you. But they will buy your house at market value. Then they will turn around and sell it. You'll move out, turn around and sell it. And they'll close in as little as 3 days. on your home. You move out. They then have a lock installed on the door that you can then text them the address of the property. They will text you the code. You can go into that home and do a walkthrough of that home 24 hours a day. And they have some cameras set up so that you're not squatting or, doing any kind of damage to the property. And you can make an offer to them, and then they will, price is pretty set. They'll negotiate a little bit on the price, but it's fair price. The pictures that they take are very professional. Everything's done, but they've taken the whole realtor out of the transaction. Essentially, you can deal straight with them. Now, they are a brokerage company, so the realtor is not out completely, or a realtor is not out completely because they are a licensed broker. But it takes the hassle out of it, and it makes it more predictable, right? Too many times we don't know if you're selling your house, we don't know how qualified the buyer actually is. They're going to close on time, which then can disrupt your moving plans into your new home or whatever. So the automation within real estate, I think, is going to be another trend as we start to see more and more companies trying to simplify things and make it a more pleasurable experience.
No, I agree. I think it's going to be very interesting to watch Open Door does, because the only thing that concerns me, and from my experience, realtor, and maybe I'm just holding on to realtor ties, I don't know, and these things I don't know, and I try to keep a fairly open mind. The only concern that I have about this, with how I've experienced clients so far, is the fact that at one point in time, they want a trusted advocate, right? They want someone that represents them, not the sale of the home. So what they want to know is, I'm getting it done. Is this right? Am I making the right decision? Right? That's what I've always done. My relationship with all my clients have been, okay, we're doing this. I want to make this price. Does that sound right? They know what they want. They know, they've done the research. They feel like it's solid.
Right.
But they go, at the end, they just want to go, Justin, tell me I'm right. They want that assurance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the only thing I think Open Door is missing right now. Now, on the same token, they can overset that by proving that every time they have sold a home through appraisals or whatever, that they have pretty much nailed that pricing, and it's a confidence factor at that point in time.
Right.
But the only thing that I do think is, I still think that real estate, for the most part, is going to be a human touch factor. And at some point in time, they want to meet people. Now, if you're investors, they don't want to meet anybody. They just want to buy the home and move on. But as a consumer, you're going to want to have that. So that's the only thing that I'm a little concerned about with Open Door. But for the other parts, I think they're nailing a lot, because they are pushing where I think things belong. They're pushing the time that we as realtors interact with clients further back in the timeline, which I don't have a problem with.
Right.
So it's going to be very interesting. I'm glad you pointed that out to me last week, because I've been watching and doing some research. I think it's very interesting, and I love the concept. I'm just very curious how the consumers as a whole are going to take this on, because I think it's a very interesting play.
Right. It's an emotional decision. Right. So you can't take the emotion out of the transaction. That's not going to happen. So, and there's a lot of questions, right? They're, like you said, that's where kind of the realtor, I think, is invaluable during the negotiations and keeping everybody calm. That's kind of, where it's at for a realtor.
Yeah. Realtors, they're the, what do I call them? They're the
referee. I don't know.
Yeah, the referee, the negotiator. They're the what's it called? The mediator. They're the mediator of the business transaction, right? They're the whole thing is to keep calm, breathe, and make sure everybody just makes a rational and successful decision, right? Not to throw fire back onto the flames of the transaction that are already there.
Right.
So that's how I've almost always described it. Realtor's business is a lot of mediation. I mean, now realtor business to grow business is more about prospecting and doing and building relationships. But as far as a transaction go, I've always deemed it as more of a mediation strategy perspective, because you got to keep calm. Whether you're boiling inside, you got to be calm.
Right. So the honey badger, which, by the way, I like that, the honey badger, because Tyron Matthew, I can't even say his last name, right? Here in Phoenix, Arizona.
I thought it was
Matthew. Yeah, he's a honey. We call him the honey badger, right? I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona, and big supporter of the Arizona Cardinals. Hey, honey badger, I dig it. So, but she's got a thing here. What percentage of realtors utilize live streaming to do walkthroughs? I think like this many, right?
Yeah.
I know there's a Facebook group called Perry Girls or something like that, or Perry. I'll get it here and I'll put it in the chat. They're a Periscope group of realtors. I think they're right there out of Chicago, as a matter of fact. There's a couple of them here in LA. It's a Facebook group, and they do Periscope videos. I just don't know. My only hesitation is that, okay, you do live stream for walkthroughs. I think it's a great idea, doing a live stream even on an open house so that the sellers can see kind of the interaction that you're having, some of the reactions that you're having on the home, and I always tell some of the realtors I deal with, if you're going to do a live stream and you get somebody that comes in, ask them some questions. What do you feel about the house? What is it that you like about the house? What is it you don't like about the house? So you can have that instant feedback back to the seller, because it's always a difficult question, or difficult to go back to the seller and say, hey, had an open house, pretty successful, quite a few people walk through, but we got a problem. Your price too high. You got to bring that price down. Rather than having that kind of conversation, you can say, hey, look, take a look. This is the feedback I got. And they all say, hey, the price is too high. It's coming from somebody else rather than you, right? And there might be some validation to that. So I think it's great if it's used right. But the only thing I would say, and we've talked about this, Justin, quite a few times, doing the live streaming and then having somebody walk around and they're bouncing around and you're getting seasick when you're trying to, okay, give me a break. Don't do that, right? So it's got to be done right. If you do it right, I think it could be very, very useful.
Yeah, and Catherine, I do believe you're right. Right now, I would say there is no stats out there because I was trying to research this over the week and really didn't see that. But my personal experience right now with realtors is probably about 10%, because I will talk to a bunch of realtors every day, and I try to teach them to use Periscope, Meerkat, or what's coming up very soon in Facebook Live to do some of these live streamings and more have a story to tell, not so much a walkthrough. I get 1 out of every 10 realtors actually try it. And, every time they do it, I try to follow them so I know they're not, or if they are or aren't doing it. Yes, they are very slow to adapt. They're tried and true. They like what they do, and they're going to keep doing it until they get thrown off that rock. Oh, yeah, the story is a sale. I think a lot of times the story is always sometimes the experience. Maybe you can tell what the family, there was always toys here. There's always X, Y, and there. There's always a lot of things that happen that way. I think there's a lot of things you can do inside there besides just doing a bouncing walkthrough and getting everybody seasick. And it becomes a really hard challenge inside of the real estate to understand that, because you got to have an eye for it. And if you don't have an eye, then you got to hire for it.
And I'm going to post here. It's Perry RE, Perire is the real estate group here, and I'll copy it here and I'll paste it in the chat room. But these are some realtors that are using Periscope here on Facebook, so you can kind of connect with them. They're always asking for additional members, so I'm pretty sure that they would, invite you in or allow you to come into their group and share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that group's usually pretty good about that. So, and again, I think you got the videos, you got the live video streamings. I think that's definitely going to come to play. We talked about that earlier. I think as far as digital marketing go, I think, and they play with each other. I think video. We talked about that. We spent 3 weeks, right, on sessions talking straight about that. And I think that's huge, and that's not going away. And I think you will see a small, not a huge explosion. I'd like it to be a huge explosion, but I think you're going to see a small explosion in video this year. And I think where you're going to see it happen is from the mobile perspective, the Periscopes, the Facebook Lives, the Meerkats, whatever new comes out. I assume Google will come out with something at this point in time this year that will have a live solution in place. And that's going to be mobile strategies. Right?
You can do that, right? I mean, with YouTube, right? With the Note 5.
Yeah.
Even with the Note 5 or whatever, I think some of the phones you can do live streaming that connect to your YouTube channel directly. So I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, Robert. Oh, that's cool. Robert Stern. They're small world, right? Small world here on Blab. His client there at Perry RE. So they do a nice job with some of their live streaming. So it's very cool. Small world. Yeah, come on in here, Robert.
You got quick fingers there, Jason. That was slow.
How you doing?
Hey, good, Robert. How you doing, man?
Good. The one you pick.
That's a good thing.
Well, because
that means you're doing something right.
Well, I came on Periscope on day one, and
did you really?
Yeah, and I'm a social media trainer. That's all I do. I came out of the real estate industry. I was a realtor for 12 years.
I heard that about you, but then I went and looked at your profile, but I didn't see anything about real estate. But I did. Some people told me, yeah, you need to follow Robert. He does a lot of stuff with real estate.
Yeah, well, I did. I mean, when I first started training on social media and everything else, and this is back in 2010 because I'm in it 5 years now as on my own on the coaching. Oh, I hit yes. So you're going to get people in here. I'm just letting you know.
People.
So I started training when I first put my license in referral realtors for social media because that's who I knew from Inman Connect and you guys are in Arizona?
I'm in Arizona. Justin's in Chicago.
Okay, so Justin is near Perry RE, who is Sonia.
Right.
Okay, and there was a guy, he works for Zillow now. He used to be in Phoenix. He was the Phoenix real estate guy. You're muted, Justin.
Jay.
Jay, he's a good friend of mine.
Yep.
In fact, he's coming on.
I know Jay. I talked to him. He's a good friend.
I have him coming on Blab. I'm interviewing him with Zillow on Blab.
Oh, when? That'll be a good interview.
Probably next week.
Cool. Well, that'll be a good interview. He's good. He's been a very good advocate for Zillow and the real estate
Carpenter last week. Do you know Sean, NRT director trainer in Ohio? I had him on Blab last week. So yeah, I'm bringing out those Inman guys. I'm trying to get them on Blab because it'll bring more realtors here.
I'm trying to make a special secret guest, but I can't get him to come on right now.
Sorry.
Let me ask you, Robert, because you're on social media and you're in real estate or whatever.
Well, I used to. I gave up the real estate, but I understand the mentality.
Yeah, you understand the mentality. You've been there, done that, right? Where do you see live streaming fitting into the real estate world? This is such a new platform, Blab especially. Mm-hmm. How do you utilize it? Right, we're still figuring that out.
The one-on-one platforms like the Periscope, the Facebook Live, the new Meavy that's out, the Meerkat when it's still there, so it's still going. Fire Talk, all those are fantastic for agents on the run. And what I mean by that is a lot of them automatically say, "Oh, I'll do my open houses or I'll show a house," and I'm sitting there going, "No, that's boring."
Right.
What people want to know, because you're going global, got to remember, you don't have control. It's not necessarily the local people following you. It's outside the area that's following you, which is just as important because they know people that are in other areas, such as Sonia in Chicago. She got people from her global side that are flipping houses in Chicago now as she met on Periscope. So now she's got investors buying houses through her, fixing them, and then flipping them back out through her. I mean, that's like a perfect deal. But
totally.
What she started doing, what we did with her, because she was my experiment in the beginning with live streaming, she started giving tours. Show the town, show the areas like you take a buyer in the car and you point out there's the high school and here's this and that. People don't know the area. Show the town.
That's what we were talking about at the beginning of the show where we were saying, hey, sell the lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all it is, because I mean, when I sold here, I'm in Jersey. I'm 20 miles outside of New York City. So the first question I ever said to a buyer was, what are you looking for in a town? Because, there's the city type of town, there's the country kind of town, and I'm in Jersey. Right. There's every type of town in the area. But it's selling the lifestyle. Show the lifestyle, show the different areas of the town. She actually took him on the Ferris wheel, Justin. I don't know if you knew this on Periscope. She went down to the docks where they have the big Ferris wheel in Chicago.
Yep.
And she took everybody on Periscope on it with her to the top and around.
Didn't she do that? Because right now the wheel's going down. I thought she did that almost like on the last couple of days, like as a
maybe she did it again. I don't know if she did it again, but she did it a bunch of a few months ago. So and people went nuts on it. They were like, "Oh my God, we didn't know there was a Ferris wheel down there." They were like, so she's giving information about the town. She's also doing interviews. Okay.
Yes.
And another guy I'm working with in DC, Stanley, he's doing it now. He's doing it on Periscope, and he's got his own brokerage, small company, but he's killing it out there in DC, Virginia. And he's bringing on, yesterday, he had on a stager. And they were in one of their houses, and she was showing what to do. and answering questions of the viewers. So he brings mortgage guys on, home inspectors, title company, answer questions, explain the procedures, not just show houses. Anybody could show a house. That's what Zillow's for. That's what the MLS is for.
Right. Well, you want the whole idea is to get people to call you, right? I mean, if you show the house, I mean, that's great, but that's here today, gone tomorrow. Some of these things, like when you interview mortgage guys or interview, a restaurant or whatever, that's a little bit long lasting. It's going to be there for a while, hopefully.
Go to the local restaurant in town. If it's a smaller town, that's really, really good.
Right.
And he lives in town. Interview people why they live in the town. Why do other people like living in the town? Think about that.
Yeah, no,
what bigger of a testimonial did you just get?
Yeah, exactly. There's on that Google Plus page, the best of real estate videos, I think it is, and I'll have to put up a link here. There was a realtor that went around. Why can't I say that? Went around.
Have another drink.
But he went around and into a park and asked just people walking around, what do you look for in a realtor? Yeah. What is it that you're looking for in a realtor? And then use that and repurpose that.
Oh, exactly. And listen,
it was great.
Everything you used to do, like Jay used to do on his blog, which was a huge blog in Phoenix. I mean, it was huge. Yeah, so everything you used to do on a blog, you can now do on live streaming.
Yeah.
And then you can repurpose it back to your blog.
Right.
Now you're adding video to your blog, which is better SEO power, which works in the long run. So now you got a written part and a video part. But you could talk to people in town. You can get video testimonials of your past clients.
Yeah.
Let people ask questions to them live saying, what made you choose to work with Jason?
Right.
You can't fake that.
No, you can't fake that. Not at all.
I mean, there's so many. Blab, on the other hand, is a different tool now. Blab is what we're doing now. Bring in realtors, bring in people, explain what's going on. It's a destination to have conversations. So that's why I'm bringing in the Sean Carpenters, the Jay at Zillow, other people that I actually have. The CEO of Douglas Elliman's going to be coming on with me. And we're going to come into a blab. I'll advertise it out and get realtors in to talk about things that are going on. Now, granted, state to state is different. We all understand the legalities and everything, but we're not talking about that. We're talking more about the marketing and talking about ideas and getting everybody kind of focused. One little idea I give could help Catherine with her video, which could help you up in Chicago, you don't know.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, Blab is a great place to do like mini conferences.
It's totally like we got to change our frame of mind and the way we think. We think of selling a house. We're going to sell it to the local neighborhood, right? Maybe the neighbor's going to buy it. With this, it's global, just like you were saying, Robert. I mean, it's a global market right now. You could sell it to anybody in the world. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty powerful when you really think about that.
Oh yeah. My business personally, just social media in general, prior to March 26th last year, when my life changed, when Periscope came out, when there was less hours in the day for me now, all of a sudden, prior to that day, all my clients were on the eastern side of the United States. Now I have clients in Australia, clients in London. I have a client in Italy, 4 clients in Canada, and I'm all over the United States.
Yeah,
because of live streaming.
Yeah, crazy.
And the same thing can happen on the real estate side. I know realtors that have gone on, and they're giving information, and you can still do the 5 things you should do for curb appeal, and all those types of things like you do on Periscope and on here, and you can do those things. And if people like you, I always used to tell them in the beginning, because Facebook was the way I built my business back in 2005.
Yeah.
I looked at it as, well, wait a minute. If I get really friendly with a lot of people over the United States and they know somebody who's moving near me, hello, ding, a referral. Right. And why can't I send referrals back out to all the people I do? So when I came on Facebook, the first thing that happened to me, I started finding people I went to college with and high school with, and they're scattered all over the country. I went to school in Long Island. Well, next thing I know, somebody said to me, the old, how are you? You're married. What do? You catch up with everybody, but we're doing it on Facebook. I said I was a real estate agent. I work here. I'm in Jersey, but I help people all over. Oh, we're looking to buy a house in Green Bay. Guess what I did? I referred them.
Right.
All of a sudden, Facebook became money. It was like, and then I got somebody in Arizona actually referred a $900,000 listing to me in my hometown.
That's awesome.
So
you can't get better than that. So let me ask you this. With that being said, we talked a little bit about the relevance of a realtor. Where do you see realtors fitting in the future?
I don't think realtors are ever going to disappear. I think the role of a realtor may alter a little bit because of technology. Information is so easily attained. It's so easy to find out what the procedure is in New Jersey that, northern half of the state is attorney, bottom half is title company. There's this, all the legal laws. You can look all that stuff up. You can look at pictures galore and videos and go, oh my God, I love that house. I got to go see it. You still need a realtor. Because you still need a realtor to physically show up in the house. You also need a realtor, which is the selling point of a real estate agent, to negotiate, and somebody who's objective on behalf of you. Because we all know you put a buyer and a seller in the room by themselves. Yeah. Let World War III over 25 cents start. Because each one was willing to budge a little, but they're all got their point where they're going to stop. I had it where I had a closing, and it was a $900 problem at the closing. It was a $750,000 house, and the seller was not willing to budge on the $900 and was willing to walk away. And I just looked at the two of them, and I was, and the buyer had the right issue. We had the ice storms a few years ago. And when we did the inspection, you really couldn't see the edge of the roof. You could see the top. The roof was fine. When the ice melted away, all the gutters got pushed away. So they weren't against the house. So they had it estimated it was about $700 to fix it. So the buyer had a right to say that. It couldn't be seen. At the walkthrough, it was there. This seller sat there and literally just said, no. You had your home inspection. That's it. It's done. We are signing. It's this price, no credit. And his lawyer was even telling him, you got to do it.
How long ago was that, Robert? How many years ago was that?
It's about 7 years ago. Because I'm out 5 years. So
let me ask you this. Do you think that the pressure of the devaluing of property attributed to that? In other words, if the home was appreciating,
because the price of the house was down where he wanted it in the first place. Notice the way I said it, the way he wanted it. It's not what it's worth, but the way he wanted it.
Right.
But it was a bad time, 08, 09, because people lost almost a third or more value on paper.
Right.
From being in the house for a while. But the problem was my buyer he didn't want to have to pay an extra $700. And, I understood. It ended up getting resolved. The two attorneys, I think, actually worked it out. Because we have the attorneys up here. It's not just the title companies. So, but something, you still need those realtors. You need that personal person representing you. The hardest part, in our state, I don't know how it is down by you guys, is I technically can have my own listing and sell it myself. So that means technically there's only one realtor involved.
Yeah, you double
and that gets
dipping.
Real tricky when in negotiations.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah, it's not even so much, to be honest with you, anymore. It's not even so much what state allows that or doesn't, because each state has different rules for that. It has more to do with E&O anymore, because E&O a lot of times won't allow a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just the negotiation side that becomes the tricky part. Everything else is okay. Right. But yeah, I mean, realtors are not going to go away. I mean, there's a lot of people I know with the internet. They said, oh, we're not going to need agents anymore. Oh, and then Zillow came out and Trulia came out and this came out. We're not going to need any of that stuff. You still need somebody to go show the house. The lockbox has to be open. Someone's got to be there. Someone has to write up a contract. Somebody has to physically negotiate home inspections and work with the people to help filter it out. I mean, that's always going to be a need. What they get paid, I can't say what's going to happen in the future.
Well, I just put up that danger report. I don't know if you've seen that or you're familiar with that, but the National Association of Realtors put out a danger report, which stands for Definitive Analysis of Negative Game Changers Emerging in Real Estate. Big acronym there, but there are pressures in the real estate world, and there's some enlightening things that are happening within our industry. And that's why I asked you about the relevance of a realtor, because there are some pressures to, not have a realtor. Open Door, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, is one of those things that's coming out. And if it gains in popularity, will be spread throughout the country. And, that'll be taking some business away from realtors for sure.
Well, I think you're also going to see, and because Robert, it'll be one thing I disagree with what Robert said. You will start seeing sometime this year a company, if they have not already put it in place, work with a company like Uber, so it's hassle-free showings. They're going to literally take the car over. It's going to be automatic drive, especially for cities, and they're going to be able to access that house without having a realtor buy them.
Well, they got to be careful about that, and the reason I say that would not fly in New Jersey. Because in the state of New Jersey,
every state's going to be different.
Yeah, because in the state of New Jersey, I can only speak here because that's the one I know the most about. If an agent does not accompany the realtor, the people into the house, the selling agent actually has the right to not pay that company their part of the fee because they did not represent them on the proximity of the beginning of the transaction.
But if you're talking like you're talking with a single-sided representation, that can happen.
That's fine, but that doesn't happen as often. I'm saying most of them are two-sided transactions, Coldwell Banker, Remax, or this or that. But if they don't do the initial, they technically don't have to pay because it didn't start with them. Like we have a lot where if somebody shows up to an open house and and they couldn't show the house, but they go to the open house, they called ahead to the agent, my clients are coming, blah, blah, I can't do it, I'm at another open house, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But you still need to come back and show them in the next couple of days so that there's a showing that you physically showed them the house. They want that.
Yeah, because basically what they call that procuring cause. And what they want to do is make sure that there's validation that someone's going to have the right to ask for commission.
That's why the Uber thing will never work in Jersey because you can't use that as a procuring cause if there's no physical agent there.
The only way I would right, it's a fine line, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays because I'll give you an example. Right now in Illinois, they were really worried about. There was actually, you guys familiar with the central locks? I don't know if no one's familiar with that whole lot, but central lock is probably one of the biggest keypads that holds the key in there. It's a number pad, such as a key card. Right, it's huge, and it's probably the biggest product out there right now for most realtors. One of the associations in Illinois, you can actually create what's called a one-day code on it, and so you could type that one-day code in and you get the key and go in the house. Some realtors, and it was against the rules, you couldn't do this, were just giving that one-day code out to their clients so they could see a vacant home on their own so the realtor didn't have time to do it, right? Against the rules. Can't do it. It's a liability issue. So the company turned off the ability to do the one-day codes. They just turned it back on because they're starting to see that, the things are coming out, but there are things changing, and they got to have things in place to answer these questions.
Yeah. I see Julio's question because I went over that with a lot of the agents that I train. It's, what are some things a realtor should be aware of when broadcasting from their client's home? First of all, you need written permission. You need written permission from, this is what I believe. I'm not saying there's a law, there's no legalities or anything like that in writing right now. But I'll tell you right now, if you're going to broadcast somebody's home, get it in writing that you have approval from the seller. Yeah, because that's going to save an issue down the line if something was missing, if something I didn't give him permission, I didn't say he could do, that opens up a whole can of worms. So first thing I say is get it in writing that you can use and write which one it is, Periscope, Facebook, Blab, whichever one you're going to use, put them in there. If it's going to be 3 of them, put all 3 in there. Be very specific because it saves you in the long run. Secondly, try not to show, in detail, close-ups, valuables. Yeah. You're like, oh my God, look, they got the Mona Lisa. Don't do that. I mean, because this, it's the same thing like when you do pictures. You try to make it neat. You want it to look neat. You want it to look like anything else. Try not to put other people in it. Like, in other words, the sellers or buyers, or if you do it at an open house, again, inform everybody that you're doing it, because technically, if you're going to repurpose that video and now it's being repurposed for monetization of some kind, and somebody's face is in there and you don't have approval, they can come back for you later. It's a lot of little things. So you want to make sure that everybody that's going to be in the video signs a release, and you can set up a formal release, just like a basic piece of paper that they'll sign, put their name and sign.
Can you put on the front of an open house on the door, a disclaimer? This is being videotaped and will be repurposed. Would that cover it?
You should actually, if you're going to have continuous videotaping going on in the front, in the house, while an open house or things going on, I would definitely put up a sign up at the front door. You know who does it? Chocolate Johnny in Periscope.
Yep.
He actually has a sign for his chocolate shop in Sydney, Australia, and it says outside, "We on and off are continuously periscoping. If you do not want to be on Periscope, please let us know, and we will make sure you're not near the camera." He's letting them know up front.
Yeah, I would think that would cover it, really. I would think.
If I was in real estate, though, because almost all realtors will try to get them to sign a piece of paper saying they came through the house, I would have a big disclosure up top. Please keep in mind, as I saw on the front door, we are live streaming this at this point in time. Please understand that. Here's what's going to happen with that stuff. So they sign off, and you're not only getting their name and information, but they are signing off that they understood what they read.
It gets to be a challenge, though. I mean, getting people to sign stuff, it sounds great, right? But some people don't even want to sign that they walked through an open house. I mean, they just don't. Because they're
that's all on how you market it. Everyone sits there because what they're scared of is, I don't need to give you my information. Well, you don't have to. Just give me your name. That's all I need from you, because I got to show my sellers that people came through, period. But once they sign their name, they must always sign the rest anyway.
I actually used to say, oh, unless you fill it out, my seller doesn't want me showing the house. They want to know who was in the house, because you can understand if it was, I would say, you can understand if it was your house and God forbid something went missing in a medicine cabinet or something else. Wouldn't you want a list of people to go back to make sure? So like, but I'm saying it like I just said it. Like, wouldn't you want that too?
That's a great way of putting it.
You hit their emotion, and they're like, "Oh, okay."
It's a solid point, because to me, when realtors can't get to sign, they're not selling it right. Can you give me your name? They sound like hungry people. Give me your name, right? It ain't gonna happen.
The best is if you sell in Jersey, we have a buyer's agreement that we can use. It doesn't, it's still open if it still has like a lot of clout, but they want these buyer agreements set up. So I would talk about the buyer agreement at a sit down, and so this is just saying any house that I show you, because I'm showing it to you, if you do want to make an offer, it would be through me, blah 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 blah. From this term, we'll just make it for today and stuff like that. And then they were like, I'm not signing that. I'm like, what's the matter? We go through it. I'm not signing it. I go, okay. And I write on the bottom, Jason, you're going to love this one. I write on the bottom, I go, buyers refuse to sign. I go, could you just initial that you're refusing to sign? And they do it.
And they sign that, but they won't sign you.
But somebody told me in the legal side, you got it down. Because they initialed that they refused to sign, technically they signed and knew what that paper was about.
Oh, good point, right? So the tables have turned.
It's just another way to, they didn't fill out the top part, but they initialed on the bottom. Because I already had their names on the top, but nothing on the signature line, the line that's there to sign. I had them do it underneath and initial it. And then I make a copy of it and I give it to them with the other forms and stuff. So I protected myself saying, well, you don't have well, actually they didn't do that, but they didn't want to sign it. So I had them initial that they weren't going to sign it. So a judge is looking at it going, wait a minute, you did see the piece of paper and you initialed that? Hello, case closed.
Next.
But yeah, live streaming is going to be huge in the industry. It's just a matter if agents will start to think outside the box. You guys said it earlier, storytelling. Show the properties, show the areas, show the style of houses, interview people. Don't do the normal, hey, this is the house that's for sale. Look at the outside, blah, 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 blah. Talk with people. And it works. That's what what is it? Snapchat
or whatever. It's storytelling, right? We hear storytelling through pictures, and we just got to put that in our minds when we're selling a house. It's storytelling. So tell the right story and you'll get the right audience.
Yep.
You know, kind of. So, all right, cool. Well, good, man. Thanks for jumping in here, Robert.
I'm gonna pop out. I gotta make a couple of calls. Actually, I gotta call a couple of realtors.
There you go. Get that business going.
And when I do get Jay on, I always schedule him ahead. So if you guys are following me, you'll get the information. Right.
I already clicked on you.
Yeah, because I want to get Jay on. I spoke to him. He goes, he just had to check with the PR department what he can talk about and stuff. So. But sure.
Yeah, it's a little different for him now. He actually has to bite his tongue every so often.
He's got a corporate area now. But yeah, I mean, if you want to see Sean, it's in the replay. Sean Carpenter. He did a great time. It was his first time on Blab.
Nice. I'll check it out.
And he's like, this is kind of cool. Wait a minute. I was trying to, you need to teach your agents at Coldwell to start getting their butts on here.
Right.
No, I think this is huge. I kind of like the fact they're not on there right now because I get to perfect it while they're all going, I don't want it.
Well, that's the other thing too. I mean, this whole platform is a way for you to speak in front of public or whatever, or do public speaking, which I think all realtors need to perfect. You need to have that confidence to do that. I always tell realtors, look, your audience is not the MLS. Your audience is the people in Starbucks, the people, that's your audience. It's not other realtors.
Just remember one thing about live streaming. You are actually banned from live streaming at Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
They actually,
there's other places
the corporate offices have sent the letters down that there is to be no live streaming inside. They can't stop you outside, but they do not want live streaming inside on their grounds.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I learned something today.
There's just, I guess something about those baristas, they just don't want you.
Well, this started recently, right? This started when the guys were asking about why was there no Merry Christmas on the Christmas card. And then shortly after, there's no more periscoping.
Yeah. They really came down on them hard. There was literally an internal form that went out and said, no periscoping allowed. It's to be shut down immediately.
I'm not sure it's related, but the timing was weird.
It was a little weird. Yeah, it was a little weird. So. All right, guys, I will talk to you. Take care.
All right, thanks, Robert.
How you doing, Robert?
All right, cool, man. I think we covered a lot. What do you think, man? Are you on mute again? You got a phone call? Am I have no silence? No silence time right now? And I've got some sound effects I'll play for that because it is a little bit
awkward.
Oh, that was loud. Was that loud? I think that was loud. So I can always play music for everybody, as we're having intermission here.
Sorry about that. Yeah, as soon as you started saying what's going on, now everybody goes, hey, we want to make phone calls to Justin. Yes.
Yeah. We'll let April in here.
I wasn't quick enough.
Hi.
Hey, April.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to get light in here. Hold on one second. Okay, so I have a question for you guys. I just moved from New York to Florida. I work in real estate. I also work in social media. I've kind of done everything. But right now I'm working for a company that is building a referral service because the cost of holding your license in the state of Florida is so astronomical. And when the market crashed, so many people just let it go and they feel like we can't get back into it. So, it was a program that was established in Canada that's being brought here. And I love the product. I love the idea of it. What they do is they are voluntary inactives. And from there, when they sign on, the brokerage holds their license, and across the country, all 50 states, there are transaction agents, showing agents, all those agents to step along the process of the referrals that you bring in. And then there's a split of the commission, which is 80-20 in their favor. So it's a win-win for someone who can't afford to join a company or who wants to get out of the business, but has all their contacts that they've worked for 20 years, but they're dying breed in the real estate business. And I can't get my I can't get him to wrap his mind around the fact that social media is massive in the presentation of this process. He doesn't.
Yeah.
How would you approach that? Because for me, it's like it's gonna fail.
Well, you want to show your boss the power of social media. Is that what you're kind of getting at, so that he can buy into it?
Yeah, no, I just want him to either, let, excuse me, once the program and system is up and running, let someone go and be on forums like this to be able to present it and talk about it. Or he needs to do it.
Well, here's the way I would suggest this, because one of the things he's probably worried about is communication and what's going to be brought out. To me, when most people are trying to launch things from social media and they have angst, one thing they don't do is they don't really understand social media. And two, they don't understand and they worry about the liability of what's being said. So getting that out there, one of the first things I would be encouraging them to do is set a platform and set guidelines on what can and cannot be talked about and marketed and how it was described. That will usually alleviate a lot of fears that happen inside the social media. Because again, once it is said here, it is said everywhere.
Everywhere, absolutely. And
so having guidelines is huge. And it relieves a lot of bosses' fears.
I feel like, everyone that I always contact it to say, hey, I'd like to, because I never want to have a blab that is just me giving my ideas, because I don't have enough information to give everyone ideas. I love this format because it's a round table of different ideas, different approaches, different, variables, and it gives people the best amount of information. But every individual that I approach, when I say, hey, I would like you to, sit on a panel lab, I say, you set the guidelines. Whatever you want to talk about, you talk about.
Right.
I don't want to ask you anything you talk about, anything you're not comfortable with, you don't know about, whatever you know that you want to talk about, let's talk about it. And they're usually very receptive towards it. But I was just wondering if you had any suggestions on how I would, I guess, let him see the ability for something to just, really grow. And,
well, you gotta get some examples. I mean, you gotta get some examples.
Watch Twitter.
Well, I mean, we're always people, I guess, that live under rocks. I mean, I would say get some examples of some success stories. I know they're all over YouTube and stuff like that. I've seen one gentleman who was doing a tech show. He started out, I think, and he's on Blab pretty regularly. I'll have to look him up. I forget his name, but he started out with like 10 followers on YouTube, and in 3 years, he had over 10,000 followers on YouTube. So it can explode very, very quickly.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, he's going to have to explain the process. And, I think it's fear, probably. It's fear.
Oh, it's definitely fear. And I agree with what Catherine wrote to you in the comments. I would invite him to something like this. And I would say what Jason said. You got to find examples. Find examples that he knows in his area, a small business, something that is actually doing extremely well in social media, and point that out to him that this is what can happen.
That's
right.
Exactly.
One of your best thing to do is actually have interviews with some of these people to go out and have those conversations. And you say, look, here's what's happening.
Well, and I'll tell you too, one of the things too, and I'm sorry to interrupt there, April, but one of the things I think part of his fear, and I am too, Yelp is getting a lot of bad publicity right now, right? Because there are competitors that go on there and put bad reviews on there. Not justified, not validated in any way, shape, or form. Anybody can put a review on there and it looks bad on you, right? And that's kind of the dangerous thing about social media. So, but a platform like this, what I like about this platform is that everybody on here, at least that I've seen, is very professional.
Yes.
There's not that unprofessional Periscope. You can get a lot of unprofessionalism, which scares people away. LinkedIn and some of the other places are a lot more professional. So I would expose him to those things first. If he's not exposed to social media, get success stories in there. And then, gradually get him into some of the other social media platforms that you want to kind of, leverage to generate those referrals.
Oh, I thought I was stuck. Yeah, because, realistically, he's got me building the site. I can't build this without having social media plugins and having good infographics to just back up his game, because it's going to fail. The first thing I would do if I got sent correspondence from him is I would click on his social media link.
You're breaking up there, April. We're getting a lot of.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The first thing I would do is check out someone's social media presence.
I'm gonna get you a gentleman here real quick who is on YouTube, who does a lot of YouTube setup. I think that might be a good place maybe to start. There's a lot of things. Here's the thing with video that I would say, and I know we're kind of harping on video here, but you don't actually have to be in a video to create a video. So you can, take pictures and other things where you don't have to necessarily be in front of the camera, and just do, voiceovers or, whatever, or show, pictures of the area or whatever it is that you're trying to promote.
Yep.
And let the pictures do the talking, pictures worth 1,000 words kind of thing, and make videos on that.
But to Catherine.
Yeah. So, realtors are really good at that. That's why they take so many pictures of a house and then they, do the slideshow or whatever. That gets a little boring. But for just somebody just starting out, that's a good entry point to build the confidence to get into other aspects of video. So I would start off with that. And the other thing I would suggest to him is that, Rome wasn't built in a day, because social media is overwhelming and it takes a lot of work. And there's different aspects. When you talk to 5 different people, you're going to get 5 different opinions on that. So you got to kind of sift out.
All of those opinions are valid.
You're breaking up. Oh. I think we lost her there. But I'm going to try to get this YouTube link here for you. And he's really good with YouTube and setting up your YouTube channel and how to do this and that within YouTube. So he's on Blab every now and then. And I got so many names in my head, I can't remember everybody's name. And I'm not very good at remembering names anyway. That's not good. Are you on mute again, Justin? Do I need to play music?
I'm listening to you. I just didn't say anything.
Here's a guy too, and I'm going to put this up too. And I've posted this before. This gentleman here, this is he's a realtor. I think he's in Vancouver, I believe. He does a really nice job with his real estate. His name is Lucas Ramage. He actually has an instructional video series on how he makes his videos, and you'll see exactly how much work he puts into these videos, which is really good. He gets a lot of views on his videos too, quite a few. Where is this guy at that does the video? And I don't want to. Let me play some.
Well, no, here's what I'll do. While you're doing that, fine, I'm going to say one thing, because this is one thing we didn't talk about much here. And I do think it's something you want to keep in mind for 2016, especially from a real estate perspective and selling homes. And we're going to spend time on this separately. But it's smart home technology. I think you're really going to start seeing that start affecting sales and what people are looking for in homes. I'm kind of amazed. I got for Christmas the Amazon Echo, and that tool is absolutely amazing to me, what I could set up and do with that. And it's hysterical to me what you can set up. And I think that's going to start having effect on sales this year, where the people are going to want to know that there is smart technology in that home already. Smart ringers, smart door openers, lights, things like that.
I got that ringer.
Yeah, do you?
I got that ringer doorbell. I love that thing.
That thing's awesome.
I love that thing.
Now, these things aren't huge, but these things are going to affect sales, and they're going to help. If someone's already got a garage door open where you can drive up and it opens when you're just pulling into the driveway, that's going to be huge. That will start making a difference.
Totally. I did a podcast one time on how well your home is connected and whether or not that affects the price. I don't think that was the exact title, but I'm gonna revisit. That's a good title, right? I need to use that.
There you go.
There's some realtors say, it doesn't matter. But, Google Fiber coming out and some of the other things that are helping to speed up the internet, I think that's going to be, especially with millennials, man, they want to be connected.
Mm-hmm. Well, you think Uber took off because of millennials. It's same thing with technology, and millennials are the biggest buyers out there right now.
Totally. Absolutely. Biggest buyers. Which also goes into, and we didn't touch on this, but Apple TV and things like that. I'm going to try to get a presence on Apple TV because I think that's the future, or one of the futures. Google Chrome, whatever, Kindle Fire, or whatever that is for Amazon, same kind of thing. But I think that's another way to showcase properties, not just here on this, but smart TVs coming out and being on smart TVs and having a presence within smart TVs for the TVs with folks that are disconnected from cable. Cable's probably on its way out. So
yeah, no, I agree.
I think our local news station even does like live streaming, because one of the holdbacks has been sports and news not being broadcast live through streaming, whatever. But I'm starting to see some streaming apps that are coming out that you can download on your TV, that then you could watch local TV on streaming, but you need good internet speed, or otherwise it gets all pixelated and distorted and whatnot.
No, I agree. I think that's going to be huge. I don't think the thing is going to be very interesting is I think wearables are going to have a very interesting play for realtors this year.
Yeah, good point.
I think you look at now in 2014, first time wearables came out, but last year we had a real big uprise and real big storytelling about realtor deaths and realtor crimes, and I think you're going to start seeing some wearables out there so people can always be found and things like that. And I think you'll have some access solutions. Again, Central Lock is out there. I think what would be nicer to sit there and put a card into a box, or just wipe your wrist right across the box and the keys open up, right?
Yeah.
Or better yet, you do that and the door unlocks. I mean, those are the things I think you're going to kind of see. And it all goes to me, it's wearables and smart technology kind of goes all hand in hand. It all plays off the same stuff. But I think they're both going to see, you're going to see that stuff play a little bit.
Roboblake.com.
Sorry. Robert Blake. That's the guy I was looking for. Okay.
Oh.
So I found him. I click on his YouTube channel and it starts playing the video immediately. So I'm going to put Robert Blake on here. He's really, really good. I like him a lot when he does these YouTube videos and explaining everything. And he I just looked at his channel there. He's got 73,000 followers on YouTube. Is that crazy?
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So he knows his stuff, and I'm going to put him up here. Robert Blake.
Cool.
You can check him out. But he's on Blab every now and then. I've seen him on Blab, so which is cool because I've contacted him on Blab, that's the cool thing about Blab, right? Is that you can contact people and actually talk to them where you may not otherwise be able to do so unless it was like an email or something like that. So.
No, I think it's awesome. I love Blab for this because it's been great. I mean, I've seen Robert a couple times on some other things, and we finally talked with him. I mean, we actually had pretty good showings today. And again, that's where I think some of this stuff happens from a digital marketing perspective. I think video is going to have a huge play this year. Bandwidth is still a concern, but if you have the right bandwidth and it's easier to have, you're going to be able to make a bigger presence this year. I laugh. You watch Periscope and you watch people in Walt Disney World. I get to have an experience at Walt Disney World when I can't financially afford to go there. Right?
Right. Exactly.
So
all right,
it makes it nice.
You want to wrap this up here?
Yep.
We'll get this thing going here.
So thanks everybody for showing up. I really appreciate it. We had a great group of people show up today. I appreciate everybody out there and asking questions and giving their insight. That was extremely helpful. Again, my name is Justin Lethby. I'm the E Professor of Real Estate. That is exactly where you can find me on the web world. I do training and consulting and mostly technology, information, things like that. How about yourself, Jason?
Yeah, check out my website, www.valleyofthesunrealestateshow is my website. I have a podcast there. I'm not too nationally. I'm right here in Phoenix, Arizona. Beautiful AZ. Love it here. But yeah, definitely connect with me on any social media. Follow me on Twitter, whatever. I'd love to connect.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys. If you guys want to stick around after us, fine. We're just going to stop the play now.